Hello, welcome to our presentation on the band Queen. In this presentation we will go through facts about the group, we will describe the group's main genre, and lastly we will analyze their song Another One Bites the Dust. So let's get right into it. In the year 1968, Brian May and Tim Staffel went to London's Imperial College. One day they decided to start a band. Brian was a guitarist and Tim was a bassist, so all they needed was a drummer. They had an audition and Roger Taylor was the one who got the job. The group called themselves Smile. Before Tim attended London's Imperial College, he attended art college and became close friends with Farrokh Bulsara, who had taken on the English name of Freddie. Freddie later learned that he had the same taste in music as the band and soon became a keen fan of it. Freddie later joined the band and became their lead vocalist. In 1970, Tim Staffel then left the band to join another one called Humpy Bong. When he left, the band tried to find a new member, but it took some time. There was a lot of people who tried, but they never had the right chemistry. It wasn't until a year later that they settled with John Deacon. When Deacon joined, they started to rehearsal for their first album. They recorded their own songs, Liar, Keep Yourself Alive, The Night Comes Down and Jesus. It was also during this time that Freddie changed his surname to Mercury. The name is inspired by the line, Mother Mercury, look what they've done to me, from the song My Fairy King. Later that year, Queen had their first concert at the Surrey College outside London. Freddie, who had attended art school, later designed the Queen logo. The logo is called the Queen Crest, and it combines the zodiac signs of all four members. Then, in 1972, the band entered discussions with the record company Trident Studios after being spotted at De La Lane Studios by John Anthony. After these discussions, the record company offered the band a management deal under the company Neptune Productions to manage the band and enable them to use the facilities at Trident Studios to record new material while the management looked for a record label to sign Queen. Now Queen was able to use a lot of high-tech equipment to make their music. The technology that they were using was also being used by some of the biggest artists in the world, for example the Beatles and Elton John. Then in 1973, the band finally got signed. The band then released their first debut album. The album was received well by critics. Gordon Fletcher from Rolling Stones called it superb, and Daily Herald called it an above-average debut. However, the song didn't draw so much mainstream attention, and the lead song sold poorly. But that didn't stop the band from releasing more music. 1 year later, the band released their second album called Queen 2. This album reached number 5 on the British charts, and the lead single 7 Seas of Rye reached number 10 in the UK, giving the band their first hit. They later released their third album, Sheer Heart Attack. This album reached number 2 in the US, sold well over Europe, and went gold in the US. This gave the band their first experience of international success, and was a hit on both sides of the Atlantic. The single, Killer Queen from the same album, also became a big hit. It reached number 2 on the British charts and it reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Then, in 1975, the band released A Night at the Opera. It was received extremely well by critics. It was very popular in the UK and it sold triple platinum in the US. This album featured the hit single Bohemian Rhapsody. This song was the number 1 song in Britain for 9 weeks. Till this day, it is the third most sold song in the UK. But the rise of Queen didn't stop here. It kept on going. They kept on publishing new albums, having concerts, and attending big events. They kept on doing things until 1991, when the lead singer Freddie Mercury died in bronchial pneumonia, which was brought on as a complication of AIDS. The singer was diagnosed with AIDS in 1987, but didn't want to go out in public. He didn't want everyone to buy their albums in pity. After his death, Bohemian Rhapsody reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it stayed on the Hot 100 for a combined 41 weeks. The last album featuring Freddie was released in 1995. Then, in 1997, their bassist left the band and retired from the music industry.